Hello, you're watching No More Flinching TV, Tell Your Story podcast, where truth takes the mic, fear takes a back seat, and testimonies take the lead. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of No More Flinching TV, Tell Your Story. I'm your host, Carlotta Taylor. Not Carletta, not Charlotte, not Carmelita, and not Colorado. Believe it or not, those are all names that I've been called, but it's Carlotta Taylor. And today is very special. If you're watching right now, let us know where you're tuning in from. Somebody you know might need to hear what's about to be shared. Take a second, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. Keep your ears and hearts open. There is inspiration in today's episode. And now we will have the thought of the day. And if you've noticed, when we have the thought of the day, it generally is targeted towards our guests. So listen up. This is a thought of the day by Chris Gardner. Strong people stand up for themselves, but stronger people stand up for others. And now, without further ado, we will bring our special guest to the stage, coming back to No More Flinching TV for the second time. Nigel London, how are you doing on today, sir?
Hello to you, my sister Carlotta, and to those who are viewing. I am doing very well, thank you. I'm battling some flu-like symptoms, but I could not help but present myself here to have an engagement with you and your wonderful audience. I'm so honored, and I'm certainly complimenting you for the work that you're doing.
Mm.
Excellent work.
Thank you so much, Nigel. Did y'all hear what he said? He is battling flu-like symptoms, but he did not cancel. He decided to show up. That's just leading right there. With a special heart, it takes a special kind of person to keep going, even when they're feeling under the weather. We don't take that lightly here in No More Flinching TV. Make sure you are in the comments while you're here. Make sure you're showing some love to the live, because that lets YouTube know that, hey, you like it here, you love it here. So thank you so much for showing up in the comments right now. Shout out to Rosina. I love that name. Blessings, Carlotta, and everyone watching from Canada. Justice for Adriana
Wow.
Young. Oh, wow. Listen, you all are in for a treat. Do you hear me? Let me tell you what kind of superstar Nigel is now. Well, I'm going to tell on him real quick. He didn't know. He did not know I was going to tell on him. But so I did some homework. And I told Nigel, I said, Nigel, when we were backstage in the green room, I said, listen, so I did some homework on you since your last time here on No More Flinching TV. And I've seen some work you've been doing. I have a list of questions. Do you want me to run through them before? He said, no. He said, he a champ. He got this. And listen, only when you do the work you do from your heart, you're not worried about the questions, because it's in you. It's not on you. It's in you. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm so excited for these questions. Listen up. You want to continue to share. You want to get your people in the room. Let's fill up all the theater seats over here on No More Flinching TV. First, we're going to talk about the pulse of the people. You are a people's advocate, Nigel. Okay. And nobody can deny that. One of my first questions to you is, I saw that you said, and you made a post about it, Guyana isn't broke. It's broken. What moment or experience made that truth impossible for you to stay silent about?
Excellent question. I'm happy that you started it and that I didn't have a chance to have a preview of the questions. Or I didn't choose to take the opportunity to do so because I believe in speaking from my heart. Uh, our country is deemed the wealthiest in the world, the richest in the world per person, or we call per capita. And it's with that in mind that we understand when we examine the Guyanese experience that she isn't broke, but she's broken in that 48 to 50% of our population lives below the poverty line on $5 per day. While we are the wealthiest country per person, we still have about 50% of the population living below the poverty line, which tells you that there are systems in place that are strategically designed to disempower Guyanese and to cause us to always have the mentality you have to look up to politicians and you have to always have our head bowed to them, to kowtow to them in order for us to survive. We must always have to call them on the phone and try our best to have some connections made in order for us to make it. And hence that term would have been coined, that phrase, Guyana is not broke, it's broken. And it requires very strong people and a nation of people to fix it. And that is the mission we're on.
Mm. I love the way that you say it's going to take a nation of people to fix that. It's not broke, it's broken. And with 50% of the population living beyond the means of survival, that is alarming. So
Yep.
thank you for answering that question. Once again, as you are tuning in, we have the amazing guest, Nigel London, who is a strong advocate for the people, not just Guyana, but literally all over the world. And we've been seeing him do some great work since the last time he was on No More Flinching TV. And we're diving off into that. And if you have any questions in addition than the ones we are asking here that you would like to ask, pop them in the comments. Drop No More Flinching in the comments. Let us know you're here. I'm looking for those comments. And yeah, make sure y'all working over there because we are looking and we can't wait to highlight you while we're here. Now we're gonna go in the hope gap. The hope gap. You talk about bridging the hope gap for those watching worldwide. What does that gap look like in real life, Nigel? And what's at stake if it's not closed?
You were asking some very excellent questions. I know you'd have done your homework. Guyanese, and it happens across the world, I must say, but it's in our nation because this is home to me. There are people who may look at another or others who are better off in their eyes, and they're saying that we wish that we can attain this. You may look at another nation. I may say we would like to be like this nation. We would that one day we'll be able to have family vacations. We can afford to go even to visit certain places here, like in Guyana, we have what's called the Kaito Falls, the highest one-drop fall in the world. It's a wonder to us, but we cannot even afford to go there. Many Guyanese can't. But there are others who can boast about going there 3, 4, 5 times a week if they want. So there's a gap. And then when we examine the boasting of our leaders who are saying that the country is growing so rapidly and development is all around, Guyanese are sitting there hoping that one day they'll have an opportunity to enjoy that which is being considered to be development. And so that gap is widening by, again, it's a systematic approach where persons are being disempowered and they're being disenfranchised. So Guyanese don't have an opportunity to really enjoy the wealth, and it's actually in oil. We discovered billions of barrels of oil deposits, and it's light crude oil. It's very, very easy to um, distill and so on. So we have got the means to earn a significant amount of money. In the last 5 years, our country has been deemed about the top two in the world in terms of economic development and growth. But the people again are at 50% below the poverty line. And what is happening to us is that people have begun to become disenchanted to some extent. They're saying, well, what else can we do? They're almost losing hope. So hence the term or the terminology, the hope gap is widening, where people
Mm,
believe that the wealthy will go wealthier and the poor shall go poorer. When that happens in any nation, the middle class is always the one to suffer the most because it'll be eliminated after a while. And that's just the reality we face, that we have to, again, as a nation, not hope or be hopeless, but be hopeful that together we'll be able to overcome this giant
mm.
called economic oppression.
Wow. Economic oppression, the giant, and closing the hope gap. I think that's just an incredible stance. And you're so
Yep.
right. I agree with you. Even though I've never been to Guyana, I actually, to be honest, when I first heard the name Guyana, I thought they was mispronouncing Ghana.
Ghana.
I was like, what? So I had to do my research and just to learn about the richness of the country, the people, the love, the food. There's so many great things. And I found this out by way of the case of Adriana Young, which we will get
Yeah.
off into later on in the questions. But listen, as you're tuning in, just know that we have the infamous, the amazing people advocate, Nigel London here, that we are interviewing here on No More Flinching TV. And we're grateful that he's back for a second time. Make sure you drop No More
Thank
Flinching
you.
in the comments. Make sure you let us know where you're tuning in from. We would love to know that. And be sure to share this out and invite others while we are live. We got Nigel London in the house. So let's act like it. Let's see some comments. We want to highlight you. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. If they are befitting for this broadcast, we would definitely love to get them answered while we have them live here. All right, let's talk about courage over comfort. Okay. Your post, like I said, I did some homework. I ate my Wheaties.
You
Okay.
did.
Nigel, your posts show a fearlessness in naming corruption directly. You don't play around. Where does that courage come from, and how do you navigate the personal risks that come with it?
The truth is that I do not navigate the personal risk, because if you consider risks, then you're less likely to be courageous and confront things that are before you. What I consider would be the benefit to our people. Um, there's no risk to me if somebody does some harm. That's a misfortune or misfortune to them, because I know what will come their way. He who slays a righteous man will always incur the wrath of a righteous God. That's how I live. And I say it again. He who slays a righteous man, you're sipping on, will always incur the wrath of a righteous God. So I'm not afraid of anyone. And
Mm,
what drives me more than anything else is that desire to see that there are more courageous Guyanese who prepare to stand up and to speak out about the injustices that they see meted out against them in their country. If everyone is to consider their own well-being and consider their safety and their security, then what happens is the dictators thrive on fear. Any dictatorship that you find in the world, they always thrive on the fear of the people. But if they're people with courage, dictators don't exist any longer. And so what I'm advocating for is the Guyanese to develop courage, boldness over comfort. We can be comfortable, but yet afraid. We can be comfortable in fear, and we realize that it's safer to be here rather than to be a bit uncomfortable in confronting issues and confronting matters. And so to reiterate, I've never paid attention to anything called a risk or some danger that I encounter. I don't work with bodyguards. I don't need them. I'm surrounded by you know who, right? So I don't have to pay attention to those things. Those who fear will always have to surround themselves by strength. I don't fear anything. Strength for me is
mm.
within, not around me.
Woo,
I fear no evil.
Nigel.
Don't make me start preaching here now. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for he is with me. I believe that, and I live it every day of my life.
Woo. Listen, is this going to turn into a church service? Do we need to pass the
Be
collection
careful
plate?
here.
Man, I
Watch
want
it.
to rewind that just to go back. Can you say that one more time, Nigel, just for the people in the back of the theater?
I do not function by fear. Because though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for he is with me. So strength for me is not what's around me, it's what's within me or who is within me. And because I know who lies within me, I don't need to have bodyguards around me. My protection, my strength, my courage comes from the one who resides within me, and he is Yahweh himself. So I fear no one. I fear no man. The person I fear the most is me without him inside of me. Apart from that, I don't fear anyone.
I love that. Man, we could just stop and that could be it right there. That's a mic drop. You hit so many cylinders with that answer. And what is so miraculous about your answer, Nigel, is the fact that I literally just posted about a dream that I had a few days ago, where God showed me that there in the world there is a like with false gods and putting fear in
Yeah.
people's minds and having them controlled by fear. And your answer just lined right up with that. So I know we are at the right place in the right moment. If you're listening and you're here, you're not here on accident. I'm very sure that something that's going to be said tonight is going to change your life in a positive way moving forward. And definitely, you want to share this with other people because so many people in the world need this type of inspiration, need this type of strength. Sometimes, if you're not strong, if you're not feeling strong, if you're not feeling like a Nigel or myself in this moment, you can borrow other people's strength. You can listen to somebody
Mm,
else's story, and that can give you what you need in that moment to reflect you and direct you back to God
mhm,
and just say, Dear God, whatever you got on Nigel, whatever you have on Colada, whatever you have on any person that you might be gleaning from, help me. If God could do it for us, if God could do it for me, if God could do it for Nigel or anybody who's out there being an advocate, God can do it for you as well. Man, that was so powerful, Nigel. I
I'm
wasn't
grateful.
ready for that. And look, he said he did not need to rehearse these answers. You're getting this straight from his heart. So I am really I'm really impressed. Outstanding.
Thank
Let's
you.
go. I also saw another post, and I had to. This is what I do. I had to go in and do a little investigative work. Okay, which I absolutely love to do. It just happens. The youth drumline moment. Okay, we saw you with the young drummers in Point Morant. I believe that's where it was. Beyond the music, what did that moment represent for you about the future of Guyana?
It was actually an awakening moment for me because I am a musician as well. So I love it. So when I was hearing the drums at Port Market, I was drawn to it. And I saw a young lady and a young man, and they were playing the drums. So it drew my attention to them. I went across because I love music so much and decided to just interact with them, only to discover that what they were doing is they were trying to play to raise funds to buy instruments to help other youth in music. And that stirred me because, for one, how can you be dwelling in the wealthiest nation in the world per person and have to play a little song on the side of the road to try to raise some funds for instruments? So I donated to them, yes, and others were with me. And because we're on the campaign trail, we donated to them. But then I saw that as an awakening, as a sense of responsibility, that our youth should never be made to function in that manner. What should have happened is there should have been some means for them to have an entire band, a mass band, fully furnished with equipment, and they should be trained by skill. We have the Guyana Police Force band, we have the military band. They should have programs where these youths are allowed to learn from some of the best musicians we have in the country. But that is not existing. That is not here. So I felt so happy to know that I could have discovered the need for it to happen, but more so I could have interacted with the youth and let them see that though I may be running for or selected to be the prime ministerial candidate, I can still interact with them on their level, which is what I do best. I don't know what it takes, what it means to be a high profile person, or I don't understand the terminology. What I know to be is one who loves people and one who loves to interact with people and ensure that their rights are respected, that they're valued, and that our youths, especially who will take care of me in the future, are cared for. So I believe that if we take care of them, they'll have gratitude in their hearts for us as we grow older, and they'll implement policies that'll be better geared towards taking care of us as the older generation. And so that moment was really one where I understood two things: that there are youths in our country who have a passion for music, which is what I grew up doing. I love music. But then there's a system that's broken again. We're not broke. We can buy hundreds of thousands of drums if you want to. But they had two of them trying to raise funds for a band. And that was just unfortunate. But nonetheless, it was inspiring. And I got a chance to practice to show them my drum rolls.
Somebody, Delta 9 Media is in the house. Respect and hats off to Delta 9 Media. We look forward to you joining us on No More Flinching TV as well. And he says Nigel for president. I've heard that phrase before, Nigel. What are your thoughts
I
about
have
that,
to.
Nigel? What are your thoughts? We want to know.
It's humbling, Kalara, and I thank you for the confidence repose in me, Delta. But I understand the power of being a servant. So there's a sister of mine, Amanza Walton Desir. She is the presidential candidate, and I'm what in the US you'll call the vice president. But here we have a prime minister candidate, and I'm humbled to serve. It doesn't matter where it is, and I never ask for positions. I believe that those who hold public office should serve the people, and it doesn't matter in what capacity. But it's humbling to know that people see me as one who would be able to, or is geared to, leading the country. I believe with all of my heart that those who desire to lead or should ever be leaders should be servants, and that's the posture that I take. But I always remember Guyanese speak to the fact that they want somebody who's strong, who's courageous, who's unafraid. And I have a sister in Amanza Walton Desir who fits that mold. So we are almost twins in reference to how we function.
Outstanding, outstanding, incredible. I mean, this is really amazing. I just want to go back and highlight the answer that you gave to the last question about the drummers and the funding and the children on the side of the road, how you feel like they shouldn't have to do those things because there could be things in place where they can do things on a bigger, larger, grander scale where they could have an event and come together and people could make
Yes.
actual donations. I want to thank you on behalf of those children for actually donating to them and not just being a person that talk about it, but you actually walk the walk. So I'm sure that people can appreciate that, and hopefully those children will know. And one day, realize like we have somebody who actually believes in us, and I hope that continues to carry forward with those children and beyond in Guyana. That's amazing, Nigel, that you
Thank
did
you.
that. Outstanding. So which led me, and we did not plan this, you guys. Listen, he just talked about it, but then my next question was going to be fully funded dreams. Nigel, if you want to add to this, you can. I believe you kind of answered this already, but just so they can know this is not scripted, this is like straight from the
No.
heart. We did not practice this or anything. I'm going to ask the question, and if you want to add to it, that's absolutely fine, because I feel like you kind of answered it in the last question. But I stated that you said state support should be there for ventures like the ones you visited. You see how that actually aligns with what you already said. What's your vision for a Guyana where young people's ideas and talents are truly invested in?
Excellent. I love it. The vision that we have for Guyana, and that's why I'm a part of what's called the For Ghana movement. And that's the group that we're contesting in the elections with. Um, the vision I have for our youth in this country is for there to be avenues where their dreams can become reality through investment from the state. Every youth in this country must know that you're valuable enough to our future. And when we make our young people, our youth understand the importance that the role they play in the future of our nation, then I believe it's easy to have their dreams realized. So if a child dreams of being, let's say, a pilot, we should not dismiss that. We should not teach them that they cannot do it. Even further to that, again, that's why you have a broken system, Carlotta, because we teach our children hospitality, for example. And we say to them, when guests come to the hotel, you need to serve them. And I'm saying, no, teach them to own the hotel. Why must you teach a child now? Why must our entire education system be geared towards servitude and not ownership or the right to dream? And dream beyond that, which is also normal. I believe that a child who loves engineering must dream that he can build a tunnel. We don't have tunnels here in the country. Build a tunnel from one county to the other county. It can be possible. So when the person comes with that idea, we have a dream builders forum where we can sit with them and say, okay, then this is what you dream of becoming. Let us see how best you can work with this, even if it requires having international assistance, because the world is developed through dreamers, not people who are afraid. We must dream big enough that it goes beyond our ability to do it ourselves. And then we have a collection of dreamers who can say, listen, with this passion we all have, we can embark on this mission. Because who knows? I may dream of building a tunnel. Another person may have the dream in Africa somewhere. We can connect and say, hey, be in that village called the Globe now. Let us do this together. And so the vision we have for our youth in this country is to ensure that none of them is discouraged because the state failed to value their dream. We are not going to dismiss people and say you cannot do it because you're too poor or you're uneducated or you don't have the means. We're saying we should do everything we can to ensure that your dream doesn't die while you live.
Hmm. That is beautiful. The right to dream. Every child deserves the right to dream. That was a mic drop. I mean, you coming from the top rope tonight, Nigel. You not playing. But I know that there is so much value and inspiration from this. There are so many people who are saying what Mel ISSA, I do not want to say that wrong, is saying in the comments.
Melissa.
Oh, Melissa. Okay, put it together. Mel, Issa. Got you. Got you. Okay. She says, I wish Nigel would take the head of Guyana justice system. We need someone like him to rebuild the justice system. You hear? That's what the people are chanting in the comments. And while you're there, make sure, Melissa, that you put no more flinching in the comments. All right. While you're showing up, we appreciate you for being here. Nigel London is knocking it out the park with these answers. Oh my gosh, they're so heavy. And even though I'm behind the mic, he's actually re-inspiring me. Believe it or not, I come here and I get inspired. We thank you again, Nigel, for this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, this is just amazing. I really want to unpack this next question, and basically from the front lines to the heart lines. When you speak out about corruption and substandard development, as you've been speaking about since you got here tonight, what are the personal stories you're carrying in your heart, that the ones that keep you fighting? Share with us.
Adriana is one. I
Woo!
consider that to be personal to me. It remains personal to me, and I'm sure we can touch on that at some point. But also the experience I have where I was overseas for 15 years. I was out of Guyana for 15 years, and I decided one day that it's time for me to come home. My children should grow up at home, enjoy my land, we call it motherland. But when I got here, I realized that we had a lot of broken systems and it became difficult to enjoy life in Guyana. Some of the experience I would have had is that to do business, I mean, the easiest things to be done required the most difficult tasks. And I began to ask persons questions. So why is it so difficult to get simple things done in this country? Why is there always some bureaucratic, as they call it, red tape for you to go through to get some simple things done? And I realized that it was about, again, politicians positioning themselves at the zenith, the top of society. And everybody must look up to them and always bow to them or try to kiss their feet to get something done. And I began to oppose that because I said, you're servants. They call public servants for a reason. And if you elected or you're selected to serve Guyanese, then that's what you'll do. You'll serve as a people. I had experiences whereby because of political connections, someone who would have done injustice to me. We were in the court and the police officers hid, did not provide the evidence. And I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars through a very disingenuous and dishonest police officer. Now, and that became my reality because of political connection that somebody had. So she could have called her friend and said, listen, I'm at the station here. The cops have me here because Nigel London, who they know is an enemy of the government. That's how they see me. So they did everything, and that now added to the fray a magistrate who would have been told, listen, I'm saying to her and the guy on the farm said, we have evidence, we have video footage to show you now what happened. And the magistrate said, I don't want to see that. And the prosecutor said they've never seen that. They've never seen a magistrate refuse to see evidence that incriminated a person. So those degrees of corruption would have led me to realize that our country has to have a change and it must have a system whereby people can be defended. Additionally, because of my societal role and because of how much I'm in public, people would every so often call me, I should say quite often, and speak to the levels of injustice that they suffer at the hands of people and how corrupt the society is. And that again became a personal experience of mine, not because I had the experience, but because I feel the pain of people. When a mother is in a home and a bulldozer machine is coming to knock her house down, I can feel that pain and I saw it. In the rain, I saw the pain on a child's face when they got home from school and saw there was nothing there because this government knocked their house down to give the land to some friend of theirs. These are realities that are so painful to me. And that is why I believe, and I'm happy you asked the question, Carla. Experiences to me are not necessarily my experience, but it's what I feel from people. And that is what gives me this passion and apparently this unreserved desire to defend people. I cannot stand to see individuals being ill-treated and be quiet about it. I can't do it. For again, I live by the word of Yahweh, which says that can you speak righteousness in silence? There's nobody who can say what is right and be quiet at the same time. You have to be loud about it. You must, if something is wrong, then your voice of righteousness or right thinking must be the loudest. I don't allow corruption to silence me. I speak louder than any form of correction, of corruption. And so those experiences, but the epitome, the culminating one would have been Adriana Young. I could not believe that we would have a head of state who could be so corrupt just to protect friends who are criminals. And that is for me an experience that will drive me all the way until I see justice for this child.
Mm. Wow, we can almost take a moment of silence right there. Justice
It's
for
grateful.
Adriana Young in real life. And we're
Yes.
going to get to a question that leads to that in just a moment. But before we go there, I just have to say, I mean, you are knocking it out the park with with the
Mhm.
responses, and that's how I know this is so genuine and it's from your heart. And this is y'all just give Nigel his flowers today on this broadcast because this
Thank
right
you.
here is not easy to do this kind of work. Especially when you have people throwing, they might be throwing love one day, but then they're throwing stones the next day. And it's not easy to do that kind of work and to stay steadfast, to keep God first and do it without flinching. Wow. Whew. I just had to breathe for myself. This is deep right here. We thank you for the work you do. And now I
Thank
want
you.
to
I'm
turn
grateful.
this to the global lens. For people watching outside of Guyana, what lessons should they take from the struggle you're in about leadership, accountability, and people power?
The latter is that people have power. It doesn't matter where you are in this world. The power always lies within people. And the more people who understand that, the less they'll be victims of dictators, victims of those who believe that they can just trample on anybody's rights. And people are amazing when they unite. For 400 plus years, our ancestors, I call them my fathers, they were held as slaves and they weren't born that way. But they discovered among themselves that this is not the life you should lead. I don't believe this, they said that after 400 years. But at some point, there were those among them who said, if we all get together and if we all decide to fight against this system called slavery, we wouldn't lose. Though some of us may lose our lives, we would not lose. And that is so important and so critical. Dr. Martin Luther King was another person who I examined his posture. And I realized that if there are people who understand the potency of us being together, united, not just walking together, but united in purpose, then we can accomplish just about anything. And I don't apologize for using scripture because it's what I live by. But there's an account in scripture. People are building this tower, and Yahweh himself had to look down and said, "Hey, because of their mentality, because they're united, they can accomplish whatever they want to." And that is so significant and it guides me because we must understand as Guyanese and people who are on the outside. So if in the USA, you're in the UK, in Canada, wherever you are, politicians are always fewer than people, than the population. Remember that. They're always less in power than they are who are powerful. And so when we are powerful people, they are in power, but if we see ourselves as being powerful, then we'll always outnumber them. And that is how we have to approach things. And I realize in Guyana as an experience that could be shared across the world, that political figures in our country are afraid whenever there's a community of people who say, we are not accepting this, we are standing for this, we want this, they become very uncomfortable because they realize that unity among people is about the most potent weapon to overcome anything in life. Anything. You name it, once we're united, we can get over it.
Hmm. Wow. I mean, I love the way that you're answering these questions. And just to say, like, the people outnumber, truly, the people
Yeah.
outnumber the corruption. I just rephrased it a little bit. And by coming
Yeah.
together, by coming together, man, I mean, we can change this thing around.
Yeah.
And I believe that. I believe you're answering very powerfully, and they are giving you your flowers, Nigel. I brought them up.
I'm
People
so
were
grateful.
actually putting flower emojis in the comments. Keep them coming, ladies and gentlemen. We
Thank you.
have the amazing Nigel London here tonight with us, and he is coming off the top rope with questions that he was not even prepared to answer. He said, "Let's just go with it." He didn't want to know the questions, and he said, "Hey, I'm ready." So he's killing it. And you want to make sure that you're sharing this and make sure you're tuning in. Let us know where you're tuning in
Yes, please.
from.
Thank
Make
you.
sure you put in no more flinching in the comments, and yeah, make sure you're sharing and letting YouTube know that you love it here. So you got to do some things while we're out here making sure that you get this good information. All right. So I've seen some crazy comments, and I wanted to ask you this the first time you came to No More Flinching TV. I did because I'm a little different than you, Nigel, and and I'm a little different. Like if somebody come on my page, this is just a warning, farewell to all. We're gonna always have those people that we call trolls, right? They
Yeah.
come like bugs. You gotta get some bug spray, and they go away. But there are people who will come on your page and your platform just to disagree, say some
Yeah.
of the weirdest things. Like I always want to know. I will see you just let it sit there. Me, I'm a blocker. I like to escort people to the block party. Like it stay open 24/7. As soon as I see negativity, more than likely, I'm gonna escort you to the block party and you just get to stay over there for a minute or a few years, you know. But false prophet or truth teller, right? I've seen people call you false prophets on your page and say all kind of crazy things. And Nigel just let it sit there, y'all. I'll be looking like he don't see that. I would have got some bug spray on that, bzz, deleted it. But no, not Nigel. All right. They try to say that they're warning about corruption because you're warning people about corruption. Then they want to turn around and call you a false prophet. But
Yeah.
now, years later, Nigel, you're proving them right. How did you keep going when you were doubted or discredited?
Understanding where my accreditation comes from, and it's not from man. If you look to men for affirmation and for celebration, then more often than not you'll be disappointed when they turn the other direction. I have never been driven by praises of people. I understand very clearly that because of the work I do spiritually, I'm supposed to be hated. I'm supposed to be despised by people for standing for what is right. And I know for sure that there are those who would not always agree with me, and there are those who tend to disagree with me. And I normally tell people that the most honest people I know are those who hate me because they'll always tell me the truth. Friends don't normally tell you the truth. So I function best in that environment. When people despise me, they don't have any reason to say anything nice because they don't like you. And I love that. So it helps me to do that. And why do I leave the comments up and so on? Because I believe that our society grows better through disagreement, not agreement. And I may explain that to people.
Ooh.
It's healthy to have people with a different viewpoint. Even if it's aggressive, it's just a different viewpoint. It makes the world a better place when we can have people who see things differently than we do, or who see us differently than we see ourselves. So if I think I'm a handsome guy and somebody says, "Hey, you're ugly," that's good because I have a different viewpoint. Maybe the person I can ask them, "What about me is ugly?" And we have an engagement. Additionally, when persons doubt my ability to accomplish anything, I leave it in public spaces so that when it is accomplished, their comment is then brought to the judgment table. So if person says, like, can I do something, I leave it. If they said I'm a false prophet, fine, I'll leave it. But when the truth comes out, they do not return to say, well, I was wrong. And that in itself highlights the nature of that individual. For a person
Woo.
of truth will say, well, I called you false, but then I realized you're true. But a person who is dishonest and genuinely incapable of walking the truth will never stand up to say, I was wrong. And my responsibility is to expose as many of those who are disingenuous and dishonest. And it makes the world a healthier place when we're able to function in an environment whereby people don't have to love you. My Messiah
Woo.
taught me, Yeshua said, woe unto you when men speak good about you. And everybody likes you, you're in problems. So I love to leave the haters on the page so that I'm in a good space. They should hate me, it's good. I'm living well when they do that.
They don't understand what just happened. This is huge. What you just shared. You just really did a training course and you broke it down um about how you allow people to have a different viewpoint, even though it's negative, and you feel that it brings people together. But at the same time, when you prove them wrong, which you don't have to prove anything because you're working for
Right.
God, so it's already
Yeah.
done. But when they
Right.
have been proven wrong with the test of time, right, and you're doing the work and you're staying consistent, and now what can they say? They don't return back to say, "Oh, I was wrong." Like you said, it is mirroring who they really are and highlighting
Right.
their character. And you're so right because I was just on TikTok earlier not too long ago, and I happened to see that somebody did make some, crazy comments about me, and I didn't delete it. I don't know why. I think I was trying to let me be a little bit like Nigel. Let me just let it sit there because I don't do that, Nigel. I don't. I don't. And what happened was I saw someone else come in, and they were literally standing up for me and taking a stance against them. I didn't have to say anything, and I was just like, okay, so that must be what they feel like because when you're doing the right thing, there's always going to be somebody to come and
Yes.
challenge that. And you're
Yes.
absolutely right.
Yes.
I'm not a pro at that. I'm not sure if I can just leave it. I don't know.
You,
It might
you
take some
can do it.
time.
You'll get
I
there.
don't know. Nigel, you got all kind of claps and cheers. People are giving you standing ovations in the comment sections right now. We appreciate the
I'm
love.
humbled. Thank you.
We appreciate the love. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We have the amazing Nigel London here tonight, an apostle of people, a servant of God. He is really coaching, he's preaching, he's teaching, he's mentoring, he's doing all of the things tonight, and we appreciate him for being here back a second time. All right. Make sure you're sharing.
Thank you.
Make sure you're inviting people. There's plenty of seats over here. We have theater chairs. And the reason why we moved it to this platform, you all, because we had almost 20,000 plus viewers on the last episode we had with Nigel London on Facebook within 30 days. Can you believe that it is all gone? So that's why we're here, so we can have permanent theater seats over here. We appreciate the love. And now we're about to get ready to go into one of our next questions. And let's go to this one. Let's go ahead and talk about it, because when it comes to the Adriana Young case, what I want to know right now, Nigel, is I want to know from your point of view, where do we stand with the Adriana Young's case?
Thank you. And where we stand, I believe, is that there's been further exposure because there was a press conference held a few days ago, and the attorney for the family, Dexter Todd, revealed that the investigators who were on the case, and they discovered that the cameras at the hotel were working on the day. And that's so that right there for me give me an even more intense degree of hope to know that there has been disingenuous people. There have been people who lied. There have been people who tried to hide the truth. And now we realize that if ever, and of course, you're the investigators, so I know you know just what I'm saying, but for the audience, if ever someone is proven to have lied about something like the cameras not working, that person automatically becomes goes under the radar. You say, okay, then why did you say that? And I spend days thinking about the fact that the responsibilities on all Guyanese. And that's where I stand at this moment, because you have election in about 21 days or so. And the responsibilities on every Guyanese to elect those who you know will ensure that this matter is reopened, is intensely investigated, properly investigated, and that everyone who's involved in covering up the situation, including the current president, will have to give account for it. And that requires people with courage and boldness and those who understand the principle of justice. I do not seek justice for Adriana because I just want to be pleased or satisfied. No, I seek it for her because I realize that there can be multiple other people with her experience if we do not stand together to defend that which should be defended, which is the rights of our children. So when I observe what's happening, there's a quietness in our nation because persons are focusing more on what happens in the election. But that to me is encouraging to know that there are many to whom I would have spoken, and as I'm on the campaign trail, as they call it, they're saying to me, "We saw you speak to Carlotta. We saw you on television. We saw you on social media, and we know that you're standing for justice for this girl." So they're waiting for the day to go to vote. When they go to the poll, and then they're saying they're going to penalize this government for what they did to this child. So I have hope that on the 1st of September, when there's election held, that there would be, if all things are fair, and that is another issue we have in terms of corruption, but if all things work out well, they would be out of office, out of administration, and they'll be into a position whereby they have to now give account for what they would have done. For I have vowed with my life, Carlotta, for as long as I breathe, I will not rest until I see justice for this young lady, because it has hurt me as a father. I feel the pain every day of my life as a father, knowing what Adriana suffered and knowing what happened after she suffered that. And so Guyanese have not lost memory. They've not forgotten what has happened. What they have done is they've decided that there is another way to deal with this administration that's so corrupt, and that is to deal with them at the ballot, at the polling station. And so there's something that we say in Guyana, that what would be on the ballot. So when you go to vote, what would be in front of you? What are you looking at when you put your X wherever it is? And they're saying that on the ballot would be Adriana Young. I
Come
wish I
on
could have put
now.
a poster of her in
Mm.
every polling station, because Guyanese should remember that. Mothers should remember that. Young ladies should remember that. When you go and you look at that ballot and you see the cup, which is a symbol of the PPP, the party that has covered a murder up, you should see Adriana in a pool. You should see that this is what the PPP represent: corruption, murder, and covering it up. And when you look at the wheel for Ghana movement, if I can throw that out there for y'all, our symbol is the wheel. You should see the ability to put your shoulder to this wheel to move Ghana forward in terms of justice, righteousness, and correctness. We must not have a nation that's corrupt. Any nation is going to thrive, can only thrive when people are morally upright and they're integral. We cannot thrive in an environment of corruption and indecency. And this young lady is on my mind. If I have the opportunity or the responsibility, I should say, to be the prime minister of a country, what you call your vice president of the USA, I believe that from the very first day that the announcements are heard, or the results are announced, in my mind lies Adriana. I am not going to rest. I promise you, I swear on my life, as they say, I cannot rest because I have never seen a president of my country do what was done to this girl. I have never seen politicians unite so eagerly to defend murderers. And I do not have the ability to say things as polished as other people do. I tell you as it is. I cannot rest. I cannot go to my grave without fighting further for justice for this child and for the others who are called terrorists because they stood up for her right. So I believe that with Adriana's situation, though there is some degree of quiet in our nation, some quietness, there is a storm brewing, and that storm is called the ballot, the voters' booth, the election period. That's the storm that the PP has to face later on.
Whew. Listen, another moment of silence for Adriana Young. I am honored that I get to play a small role in helping move this momentum forward. God chose me by giving me a dream in September of 2023 before this even happened. And then Nigel is my witness. That's why I'm glad he's on here today. A US based Guyanese reached out to him and said, I know a lady who's a former homicide detective. I will reach out to her. I think she needs to talk to you. She reached out to me. She told me about Nigel. I looked at Nigel's page. I prayed about it. And then God brought it to my remembrance. I remembered my dream and I said, oh my goodness. Look what the Lord has done. There's no reason for me to be involved outside of that. God wanted no more flinching mentality to be incorporated with justice for Adriana Young. That means the fearlessness that Nigel is talking about, the fearlessness. He said, do not follow in fear. Do not think about fear. What risk?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what Nigel said. Whew, Nigel, you about to get me started. We're going to get back to the interview because it's something big about this.
Yeah.
I'm not there.
Yes.
I'm not able to vote. I'm not there. But my spirit and my heart and my prayers are there with justice for Adriana by any means necessary. By any means necessary, the right way.
Yes.
The right way.
Yes.
Right? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts about the Adriana Young case before we get to the finalizing of our questions? Because this is really, it's really big and it's very important that even though I understand that there's a silence going on and people are really focusing on the elections, but we want to make sure that you show up. You want to make sure that you actually show up and follow through. It takes follow through to get things done. And do not sit back and think that, oh, if I go out my way to go vote or do this or do that, it's not going to actually help because I'm only one person. Numbers do add up. And there is power in unity. And that's exactly what Nigel's been preaching ever since she first came on this platform tonight. Any final words about the Adriana Young case before we move to the next question?
Sure, and it ties into what I'm happy that you said that. Before I go into my final word, I must say that should for Ghana movement, the movement that I'm a part of, should we be given the responsibility? I don't like speaking to winning an election because it's not a competition. I consider it to be responsibility. So should we be given the responsibility to lead this nation? I know in my heart that you'll be in Guyana for sure, because you played a very integral role, and we would need you to be here to help us in the investigation. And I mean that. And I know that the partners that we share and the other members of our movement, they would also share in this idea of mine that you should be here, Carlotta, because you've done a very significant job and a very monumental one in reference to this case. So we would need to have you here, assisting in this investigation where everybody, and I love your attitude, everybody is a suspect until you're not a suspect. And I can live with
Period.
that. Okay, I can live with that. So in reference Adriana's case, what I know is that, and I say to Guyanese, your vote is your voice. So those of you who are afraid to speak, your finger will speak for you. Your hand will speak on that day. Because we have observed, and I looked at it, that there are those who supported this administration and the president and so on before Adriana's situation. But I look at those who went after. For anybody to see Adriana's situation and then still go across the PPP, as the party is known as, the People's Progressive Party, I call them pathetic party, and you say, listen, we want to support you because you're good. I have, with all of my heart, said to Guyanese that anyone who, after Adriana's situation, would have gone to that environment, you are a murderer. You're a criminal. You are, I cannot see them as anything else. And honestly, I can't, because they know what happened. And what is very, very interesting is that they have children, and the world doesn't have this shape for no reason. You have children. You want to support those who are covering up the murder of our child. Be warned, be careful, for the hand of justice is not short, and the God of justice does not sleep. He knows exactly how to repay you evil for what you've done. And we in this country must never forget Adriana. I will not allow us to forget Adriana. So if it's the first day we move into what is called our House of Assembly, the Parliament, where the lawmakers are, I will go there if I am given the right to do so, and I'll speak the very first day to Adriana's situation. And they'll be tormented by my voice speaking to it all of the time. So everyone who goes to the House Assembly in September or whenever they convene Parliament, you should be one who says to them that you're guilty of this situation because you covered it up, and we shall find you at all costs. Let me further say, since Carlotta allows me to do this, they like to talk about a witch hunt. So they say, oh, if we out of there and you come after us, it's a witch hunt. Yes, it's a witch hunt. I'll be hunting for the witches who killed that girl. I'll be hunting for the witches who took part in the sacrifice of human being. I'll hunt for the witches who were involved in paying people to cover the murder up. I shall be on a witch hunt. If you're not a witch, then you're safe. But if you're a witch, get a broom as quickly as you can, because it's going down with me and y'all.
Mm. I stand behind that statement. I'm holding up signs right now, standing with Nigel about that. Yeah, be very, very careful. And I will say this because God gave me another dream about the case, and I posted about it because I'm learning to be
Wow.
obedient, because God has given me the dream for a reason, and He's not giving it to me for me to keep it under my pillow. So that's why you will see me, if it has something to do outside of my family, because I have dreams about my family, loved ones, when God gives them to me, prophetic dreams or intercessor dreams, however you want to look at it. God gave me another dream about the Adriana Young case. And this is where we don't want to mess up. We don't want to mess up by just openly saying, oh, this person is not involved because they are the, or this person is not involved because they are. Follow the investigation and all
Yes.
evidence, because to see justice, to see true justice in the Adriana Young's case is to uncover every single stone, period. Everything gets
Yes.
searched, everything gets
Yes.
investigated, everything gets looked at, everything must check out, everyone must check out. And that's how we're going to get to
Yes.
true justice. And I feel that. And I really appreciate your stance, Nigel. Thank you for the kind words that you said about me. Like, I'm just grateful. God put me here. I didn't put myself here. I wouldn't have
Okay.
never known about it unless I had a dream and someone reached out to me and then introduced me to you. I would not have ever been here. So that's God, and I thank God for protecting me through this all, because I have sensed the evil that's come with this. I've sensed the attempted cursings that I felt it, and I have fasted through it, and I prayed through it, and I will continue to do so, because I thank God for covering me in this season right now. So yeah, thank you, Nigel, for the work you're doing. It is very this is so profound. This is so much bigger than me. It's so much bigger than a person. This is like a kingdom mission. I hope you all can see
Yes.
that we are all a part of. It's not one single person. We are all a part of this. Thank you all for the love. Y'all are coming through. I can't even keep up with the comments, posting them, because y'all are coming through in the chats with the hearts, the love, the support, no more flinching, and clapping and cheering. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Somebody said, and listen, I don't see nothing wrong with this. I don't see nothing like, and if you're listen, Nigel, I'm serious, because if you're not guilty, you ain't worried. You're not worried.
Exactly.
Everyone is guilty until proven otherwise. Justice for Adriana. And that's my lens
Yes.
on this, because really that's the safest route to take. I hear too many times people will say, oh, they could never because they are or they could never, and they didn't have any involvement. And no, that's the wrong approach. I'm telling you, because the dream I had, God showed me there's some people that are very close to this baby that are involved. And it is
Wow.
jaw dropping. It's worse than the chills that you
Wow.
can get. So, and I'm not pointing any
Wow.
fingers. I'm not making any assumptions. God showed me that. And that's just what it is.
Wow.
Justice for Adriana Young. All right. So
Yes.
we have a few more questions, and we're going to be wrapping up, Nigel. We really appreciate you for being here. Make sure
Thank
you
you for
keep
having
letting us
me.
know. Absolutely. Let's keep
Mhm.
letting us know where you're tuning in from. No more flinching in the chats. Blow it up. Let YouTube know that you love it here, and continue to share this out, because we want to get this information, these jewels, this knowledge, the heart of Nigel London is right here on No More Flinching TV tonight. You want to share that out, okay? So I'm trying to figure out, where do I want to go. We have about 4 more questions, and we'll be wrapping it up, but we want to make this
It's
count.
fine.
We want to make this count. We appreciate you, Nigel. All right, so let's talk about the fighter's eye. The fighter's eye. All right. What's your take? We're gonna go there, and then we're gonna go back. No, we're gonna save that one. We're not gonna. Pardon me. We're gonna come back to that one. We're gonna come back to that one. We're gonna get, because we have some comments, and we have some other comments, and I did say I was gonna get to the comments and share some of the comments
Okay.
that made it. So we'll do that in just a moment. For the many, not the few. Let's go there. For the many, not the few. Your slogan echoes unity and inclusion, Nigel. If you had the microphone to speak to every citizen of Guyana at once, what's the one sentence you want etched in their hearts?
Excellent. Wow. The one sentence I would love to be etched in the heart of every Guyanese is that Guyana is our home. We are all at home in this nation. It is not divided. Guyana is united because we all live in the same house. For that reason, we must maintain her well. So Guyana is our home. We're not divided.
Mm, I love that. Unity, unity, unity. All right. And now, for the many, we're going to go to the King's Charge. And I label this the King's Charge. For the person watching right now who feels powerless to change their country or community, Nigel, what's your challenge to them before this interview ends?
Consider the fact that one person is not necessarily needed to change a community. The community can change a person, meaning that if we all get together and we all stand as one, then you have no need to think that you're alone. Most persons feel fear when they are alone, or they do not sense that they have company or someone with like feeling or like passion. The culture of unity must be ours. The culture of us of understanding our history must be reborn in us. The history of Guyana, though we have ethnic polarity sometimes, our forefathers, those of Indian descent who came from East India and those of African descent who came from Africa, united against one common adversary, and that would have been the plantation owners. They said, if we are together, then they cannot dominate us. And that's what you need to have in our society, where people do not feel fear because you are standing alone. Be empowered. You have the ability to unite with another person. And the more of you who get together, the stronger you become. That's what we need in our country. That's what Guyana would thrive on. A Guyanese should never be crippled by fear. You should be driven by patriotism. When you love your country, fear doesn't drive you, love does. And so we're able to stand together with more people who love Guyana for us to make her a better place. We all have to live here. Again, I say Guyana is our home. Cherish her.
Amazing. Man, this is very interesting. Whew. I love it. Guyana is your home. Cherish unity. Get rid of fear. Put fear aside. And if that's hard for you to do, just borrow some of Nigel's courage, okay, and just go forward because that is the answer. Get rid of fear and unity. Those are two important things you've been hearing him say all evening. Very important. All right, so now we're going to get to this amazing question. All right, the fighter's eye. Nigel, what is your take on the potential, possibly, who knows, but Layla Ali versus Clarissa Shields fight? And what does it teach us about the legacy, respect, the torch?
I didn't get the latter part of the question. What does it just teach us about what? Because I don't want to miss
About
that.
about legacy, respect, and passing of the torch in your own way, like
Oh man.
feedback about the potential fight between Layla Ali. She's like,
That's a mic drop question right there. We must learn. And Clarissa Shields, for those who don't know, is a young fighter. She calls herself the GOAT, the greatest woman of all time. Undefeated, three-time, I think it is, gold medalist at the Olympics. She's an excellent boxer. Layla Ali is the daughter of Muhammad Ali, and Layla herself would have been undefeated and an excellent boxer. But what got my attention is the fact that the younger one looks to the older to say, "I want to challenge you and beat you." That is not legacy. That is not how you respect people. Respect says you've been there before me, you're greater than I am, and I got this from Michael Jordan himself, who said, "I do not." He doesn't compare himself to those who were before him, for they paved the way for him to play basketball. Layla was there before Clarissa. Layla was able to show Clarissa that you can become very, very powerful. You can earn through boxing. You can change the sport. You can empower women, but you don't have to destroy each other. And Leela should take the posture to say that I would not go to the place of fighting you. It's like my father. My father taught me since I was a young man. He would never have to hit. He never square up to fight me. He's my father. And then I learned this. Now this becomes this more spiritual here. I learned this from Yahweh, my heavenly Father, who I used to sometimes say, why would you not fight the devil as he taught growing up? Why wouldn't you fight him? And he said, I would never fight what I create because I can speak him or think him out of existence. So if you reduce yourself to fighting someone who you're greater than, it is not a good thing to do. Your position when you're great, someone. When one is great, you don't have to take the time to prove that you are. And so Layla is great enough to not have to enter the ring to prove who she is. There's no reason to do it. Clarissa should enjoy the fact that she is already an excellent boxer, but the way has been paid for her by another excellent boxer. That's how it works. There's a guy who's a cycling champion. I can go on because I love sports. Now, sports is in my blood. I used to box when I was younger, but I didn't get a chance to go professional and really go at it because my mother didn't like the fact that I could have had my face mashed in. But I always tell her that you can't destroy what you don't hit. That's how I used to think. But I used to be trained by someone, and he used to teach me to fight, and he taught me certain simple things. One of them being the trainer may not be the champion, but the trainer paves the way for you to get into the ring to be one. And so Clarissa should look to Layla's life as the one who trained her to be wealthy in boxing, who trained her to be successful as a female boxer, who trained her through her experience to be respected as a female fighter. And I would like to say that Clarissa should enjoy the fact that someone paved the way and give her flowers for that. Don't challenge her. Do not do
mm,
it. It isn't worth it.
mm. Well, Nigel, before I get my feedback on that, I'm gonna read two comments that were posted on No More Flinching TV on YouTube. And first, we're gonna start with Delta 9 underscore media. Delta 9
Okay.
underscore media. Shout out to Delta 9. It's proof that black don't crack, but I still got the quote for the fight. That was his comment. Okay. You deserve to believe and feel how you want to feel, Delta 9. And now we're
That's
gonna go
fine.
to the next commenter who responded, and that is at Valerie Smith 5374. These were the two comments that were selected.
Mhm.
The Boston match of the two women with the age gap is telling a story of resilience and bravery on both sides. Clarissa is not flinching regardless of maturity and skills on Lila's side. Lila is standing strong and not flinching. She is ready to respect her age and experience, sending a strong message to Clarissa that she must respect maturity and experience and is ready to put her in her place by telling her, I will have you sit down and learn to respect your elders. Okay. While there are many sides to this match in both women, fear takes the back seat. Come on now. What
Ah,
I hear you with that fear takes the back seat. That's the opening on No More Flinching. Come on now.
yes.
And it doesn't matter how huge or impossible the situation appears, challenge it head on. Now, while I respect everybody's opinion, and I'm gonna have to say I favor with Nigel on this one, okay? And the reason being,
Thank you.
I did that from my heart before I even spoke out about it. For the most part, I may have said this before, I'm not sure, but the reason why I say that, oh yeah, I commented under something that Clarissa posted. I like Clarissa, don't get me wrong, and I like both. I like both fighters in their own right. The only thing that I have a different angle on is the actual fight. And the reason I say this is because as a mother, Nigel, and community that are watching right now, he all in the comments talking about some quote. Who asked you? 2009. I was just playing. But listen, all right, we're talking a 17-year age gap between these ladies, right? And I agree with you, Nigel. I mean, you just gotta let it. If you're great, you're great.
Yeah.
Ali's already proven herself. She's already did that. She's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and have moved on with her life. 17 years older than Clarissa. My thing is, like, Ali is old enough to be her mother. Okay. Like, would you challenge your mother in the ring? Come on now.
Right.
Furthermore, we're talking, let's put it in perspective. 30 year how would you like a 30-year-old fight versus a 13-year-old?
Oh boy.
That's the age gap we're talking about. And that would no one would want to see that, a 30-year-old beat up on a 13-year-old. But like years down the line, now we're going to talk about a 47-year-old fighting a 30-year-old, or a 30-year-old challenging a 47-year-old. It just really doesn't make sense to me. I feel like you, Nigel. I don't feel like Layla Ali has anything she should have to prove. She, in her timing, in the height of her career, she did her thing. And now that Clarissa is in the height of her career, I think it's really like it's just not. It's not giving me this is not giving me good vibes to just know that that's where she's looking to get her next, notch from on her belt. And so it's just not a good look or not a good feel to me. Like I said, Layla Ali is old enough to be her mother. All right. So, wow. Thank you for sharing. Thank you all for commenting. For those of you who did, we're going to keep it going, and we'll be asking our next guest the same thing, but we appreciate you. And somebody, who is this? Who's in the comments? Somebody said, respect your elders. Ali needs to sit this out. You don't need to prove anything. Yeah, so well. Oh, yes. Okay, we have the last question of the night. We have arrived. Man, it's some really great gems that you dropped, Nigel. Once again, thank you so much. But I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this one. With that No More Flinching energy, since your last appearance, where has No More Flinching showed up most boldly in your journey? Can you give us a moment when you stood your ground against heavy pressure with that No More Flinching energy?
You sure you want to ask me that? Please name color that she asked the question.
I absolutely do.
It wasn't my stance regarding what I believe in. and what the LGBTQ group in the country were challenging me about. Because I know the politicians in our nation normally would bow to that pressure, and they will say things just to be accepted. But I decided I will maintain my position, which is my conviction. And that's nothing to being saint, Christian, nothing. It's just my conviction. For Guyanese to understand that we can have a different view in life, but still we can live in the same space. And they have to respect that. They must respect the fact that I do not have to accept what you say to exist with you. Neither do you have to accept what I say. What we need to do, therefore, is to find a position whereby we can agree in a particular environment that this is what will govern us. And so I was able to, in that moment, I made the media, of course they lied. They said I said people should be shot and all kinds of stuff. And no flinching from me would have been at that point to stand to say that it doesn't matter what you say. I shall maintain my right to have my viewpoint, to express my viewpoint, and I'll give you the right to do that, do the same. That for me was a no flinching moment because it could have been a time where I cowered to say, well, if I do not say the right, I would lose a position. If I don't say what they like, um, I hope what trying to call me. If I do not say what they like, then I'm going to lose something. And I said, no, let me maintain what I stand for because it's what I stand for. At the same time, I would not, if I were to be the prime minister of this country, I would not use that, my personal position, to govern how I treat with another Guyanese. But it's still my position nonetheless. So I'm thankful for no more flinching, Carlotta, because that was actually a moment when I did not flinch. I stood my ground. I still do the same thing. And people must respect that. But there are times in life when the most significant challenges face you, you are prepared to stand for it and stand by it. And that's what I will do as a man. My son needs to see his father standing for something. My daughters need to know that the daddy could stand for what he believes in at all costs. Doesn't matter what it costs me. At least I stood for what I believed in.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. Stand your ground. No more flinching. Thank you so much, Nigel. It has really been a pleasure. I knew this was going to be a
Pleasure's
good one.
mine.
Thank you for coming back. And I'm pretty sure this won't be the last time we see you, but thank you so much. May you have a
Thank
great
you.
rest of your day. And we pray that you will actually be feeling well because he actually did this interview you all under the weather. So we hope you get better. And thank you for showing up and showing out.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure. Continue to do well.
Yes,
And may
sir.
your
Thank
program
you so
thrive
much.
as you do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Wow. That was incredible. Thank you all for showing up strong. This has been amazing. Make sure you continue to share this out. Make sure you stay tuned and follow us because we have an amazing show coming up again. And you'll be seeing me more often on this platform. So make sure you get comfortable. Okay. So we're getting ready to wind down. So to everyone watching, if this episode touched you, talk about it, tag a friend, replay it, reflect on it. We are just getting what? Started. Meet me right back here next week, same time, same fire. Because around here, we don't flinch. We tell the truth and we do what? Keep it moving. So this is No More Flinching Talk TV. No More Flinching TV. Tell your story podcast. Until next time, take care of your soul. And do what? Take your story off mute.